ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡು ಇಂಟೂರಿಂದ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಹುಡುಕಂ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗೂ ಬಂದ್ರೆ
I'm admitting all and
ಅವನೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟವನೇ ಕನ್ನಡ ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟವನೇ.
Okay, so we get started. First of all, glad that so many students have joined. More students will be joining in, and this is the first HIGMID of this year. As you all know, HIGMID stands for how I got my idea. You can see my screen now. It says how I got my idea. I hope it is visible, right? So, and for the inaugural session of HIGMID for the Youth IDEATHON 2022, I have Indra Jha, and Indra is joining us from Bangalore. He's on way to airport, and he's the founder of a very exciting startup called Ziffy Health. Now, just for disclosure purpose, I am on the board of Indra's company, but that's immaterial. I think the kind of work that Indra has been doing is phenomenal, and that's why we thought that we bring Indra today for the HIGMID talk, right? So friends, in terms of the way we are going to conduct this, I'm going to pose 4 questions to Indra, and then we'll leave the floor open for all of you to ask your questions. If you have any questions, while he's speaking, you're all free to put your questions in the chat box. And only when I'm done with my 4 questions, then we'll certainly go back to you who have posed the question and allow you to ask the question directly with Indra. So without much ado, I start with my first question with Indra. Indra, can you do a quick short introduction about yourself? I tried, but I'm sure you can do it much better than me.
Sure. Thank you very much, Sivesji, and good evening, all of you. It's a wonderful evening, I guess. A lot of young, energetic crowd who want to really transform,
So there's a lag from
India as an economic powerhouse. So this is and take a look let me introduce in a very briefly. So in fact, I was in merchant navy for around a decade, and then I studied at Thunderbird School of Business Management. Further, this entrepreneurship of IIM Rohtak, and right now I am a CEO of a startup called Ziffy Health. So Ziffy Health is basically IoT-enabled AI-driven health kiosk platform, and it's basically the Bharat focused, where the 72% of the population lies, but there they have the access of less than 20% of the doctors. So our vision is that how we can override the geo-terrain barrier, and with the help of by leveraging the technology, how the healthcare can be accessible for the people at large, majorly those who are living into the real Bharat. So that is my short intro. And right now, indeed, we had a very good, the quantum leap that one of the major, BC is Sequoia Capital. So we had a meeting in Bangalore, and it seems like they are going to come on board, and probably they'll be our growth partner. So on that note, I guess that very short description, in a short, it completes who I am.
Indra, this is you, right? Super positive, very optimistic, and friends. When you are watching these videos on HIGMID, you also get a flavor of entrepreneur. And Indra Jha is an entrepreneur who keeps on shining. Just give me a. Indra Jha is, full of optimism, and I want everyone to learn from his optimism. And Indra, I have a follow-on question, right? Love it. Sequoia positive is a great news for all of us, right? I have a follow-on question, Indra. And the question is, could you tell us what is Ziffy? What is Ziffy Health? What does it do? What kind of problems does it solve? What's the idea behind Ziffy?
Yeah, sure. So, in fact, the distribution of the doctor, if you see between rural and urban ecosystem, there is a huge disparity. So majority of the doctors, that is precisely speaking 80%, they are living into the urban ecosystem. But other hand, the population largely, they lies around 72% plus. They are into the, the semi-urban and rural ecosystem, but they have unfortunately only 20% of the doctors. So this is creating a huge disparity. So our platform is trying to solve the problem to bridging this gap through IoT-enabled devices, which bridging the online and offline consultation. So in Jiffy Health solution, that basically in a promoting with a pharmacy partnering. So when any patient is coming over there in front of the kiosk, so their national health ID created as we are also a sandbox integration with the National Digital Health Mission. Then there are all the vitals like blood pressure, temperature, blood oxygen level, random blood sugar, etc. Those vitals is being taken in real time, which is accessible to the doctor. Post that, even the cardiopulmonary sound with the help of the Bluetooth-enabled stethoscope, it also can be heard by the doctor. So there is no gap left where the patient has, walked into the doctor's chamber by traveling so much of distance, maybe 20, 30 kilometers in a rural area, and whether they have, walked in there after such a long travel, or they are in front of the kiosk. So that way we are able to make the healthcare accessible for the people at large with our platform.
Indra, this is super fantastic. Can I request people who are not speaking to be on mute? Yes, thank you. This is very interesting, right? The kind of work that Ziffy is doing. So just to reiterate, Ziffy Health is a health tech platform which is able to provide healthcare facilities to the inaccessible large markets where doctors are not there, which is the problem of the country, and they're using IoT devices. These IoT devices allow a simple healthcare practitioner to monitor the health vitals and relay to the doctor who could be sitting on the other end of the screen. For example, if I'm the patient and Indra is a doctor, IoT device could be relaying my vitals right now to Indra, and then he can provide consultation to me. Brilliant idea. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I really want everyone to applaud the brilliant effort of Ziffy. Before I move to the next question, I have a question for the audience, and I'm really looking at your raised hands. So friends, two things I want. Have you all submitted your idea in the Youth IDEATHON? If you have, just raise your hand. Aryan Jain, you have submitted? Only Aryan? Only, or are there other people? So friends, if you have not yet submitted, may I request you to go back after the session, go back to the website of Youth IDEATHON, register your team, start submitting your idea. Neil, you can submit as many ideas as possible, right? You know that you have been an alumni of Youth IDEATHON. No idea is it takes time for ideas to be built up. So start submitting your idea. So that's my first plea. My second question or recommendation to all of you is, if you have any question to ask to Indra Jha, who is the founder of Ziffy Health, right? You can put it in the chat box, and once time comes, then I'll take the mic to you to pose the question to him directly. But put all your questions in the chat box, right? This thing is also being live streamed on YouTube. You can go back and watch this video on Think Startup channel. But with this, now I come back to my second question, and this second question is again with Indra. So Indra, super impressed with the kind of work that Ziffy has been doing, right? And tell me, as the name of this talk is, you can see HIGMID, how I got my idea, right? HIGMID, you can see HIGMID here, how I got my idea. So that's the question. Look, these are boys, young students of schools, and from whatever you will answer, it will really benefit them, right? So Indra, how did you get this brilliant idea of building something called Ziffy, right? You were in Merchant Navy, you were in Reliance, and you were doing some great job, earning good money, and then left everything and they said, okay, I have to build Ziffy. So what was the trigger point?
Yeah. So seriously, I believe, the idea is not just come in a fraction of second. Probably there is the millions of idea around the people in a day to day, when you are going through and leading a normal life, from probably getting up from the bed and then doing your daily course and whatever you are going, school, college or offices, and then coming back and living your life. So in each and every step you see the things around you, and you see the convenience and inconvenience. So if you are quite a bit observant, probably lots of idea is around you. Then you have to see that what is the compelling idea, what kind of impact it can bring, and then probably can concentrate and consolidate one specific pain point which you have experienced. So I guess no matter how much you have primary and secondary market research we have done on any kind of the issues and the problems, but if it is connects with your life and you have gone through that the kind of a scenario, so that always gives you a very much strength to build a perfect solution, and that probably excel into a marketplace. As far as my concern, my the idea is concerned, it was germinated into very early stage of the my life, when I was living into I was born in Madhubani, that is the Bihar, northern part of the Bihar. So I have lived around up to the age of 15. What is the consequences? The inadequate access of the healthcare is there, and one of the huge impact which has left on my mind, even losing one of my cousin, the simple diarrhea. So that was somewhere some concern in my subconscious mind. And in due course of time, when I was traveling across the globe, I used to observe what are the best possible technologies, what are the best possible practices are there into the healthcare space. And then I have been, strengthening my idea that how I can one day come back, form the team, crystallize the business plan, and impact the lives, so that the healthcare access should be impacting the people at large, and consequences, the negative consequences, can be minimized as minimum as possible. So I guess this was not into the sprang of the minute. It was a quite long nurtured idea, which finally crystallized, and then we formed the business plan. And today I'm this stage now.
Fantastic. Indra, it is so wonderful to listen to you. And what you are saying, that it is not a light bulb moment, or maybe light bulb moment would have been long back, but you preserve that moment, and you kept on nurturing that thing into a nice business plan, workable business model, and made it work, right? And to every person who's listening out there, I think Indra also made 3 or 4 very interesting points. First, he said that we have to be observant, right? So ideas come from observation and things around us in our real life. Second, what he said again was very important, that great ideas come from something that you have experienced, right? And in this case, the diarrhea of his relative, cousin, brother, who unfortunately had passed away, that sort of triggered, that kept on forcing him to keep on thinking. But Indra, I have a question, right? That must have been long back, right? And then you ventured into merchant navy, and from merchant navy, which was something very different realm of occupation. How so you were really passionate about the problem, but you kept on going back in your mind trying to solve that problem. What was going on?
Yeah. So, consistency of what has impacted you the most, and then we'll try to build a solution. It really needs a lot of determination and hard work. And also, let me tell you the bootstrapping amount, because VCs and angels, they come later. Of course, you have a compelling idea, you make it at early stage, but the chances are fair enough that, if you get, acquire requisite skills, because it's not only idea itself is just a 10 to 15% contributor. After that, what you have acquired, the skill, the people skill, that execution skill, delivery skill. So these kind of things matters a lot. So I was preparing myself, and I took a lot of time to prepare, internally, developing such kind of a conducive skill, and also preparing some good amount to, do the bootstrap. So as, it should be when we enter and put our foot down, then it should be no looking back, and the success only should be the one word we want to hear, internally and externally. So that took a long back, I guess, to prepare for that.
Lovely. It was it requires a hell lot of preparation, right? And what Indra is saying, that idea was there, but it requires a lot of human capability and skills, call it founder capabilities. And that he kept on building that muscle slowly, slowly, slowly. Financial muscle, such that, he can start experimenting with his idea and then form the venture. So Indra, that's, very interesting. I'm getting some questions on the chat box, and ladies and gentlemen, I urge you to put all your questions out there. I'm in my last question, and then I'll open the floor for your question. So Indra, my last question, and then we'll have the students, of IDEATHON who might have questions for you. So my last question is, in this journey of building Ziffy, right? It looks out like super interesting journey, so many learning points, etc. Tell me, what would have been top 3 challenges that you really encountered?
Yes. So, challenges, number one, we can see that, you have a limited, probably when you start, you may have a limited resources, and you have to keep your co-founders' aspirations as well, the duly taken care, and you look for a high quality co-founder who has a very high proven track record academically or as well as the work experience. So keeping their aspiration intact and alive and at the peak of the performance. So that's, I think, the challenge number one. Then challenge number 2 is the market acceptance, that in the beginning, when you are coming with the innovative product and solution, you have to be really very, very persistent to make your target segment understand. And for that, you have to devote your heart and soul. So probably employees to whom you are hiring, they can contribute to some extent. But yes, it is you as a promoter, a co-founder or co-founder who has to be really very strong belief, and that conviction is translated into conversion into the initial tractions. So initial tractions is very important. And third is, after certain limit, yes, your bootstrap amount will dry down. So you have to be very, very conducive and well prepared, that how articulate your business plan, then that how you are going to create the money for the investors, prospective investor who is going to support you, so that the value for money, how you are going to give to them. So that articulation is also one of the key challenges. So I guess that 3 element I have gone through, and I guess most of the the entrepreneur's journey is going through these 2 hurdles, and probably those who clears them well, they goes into the journey of the unicorn and whatsoever.
Indra, this is so candid, right? So to all the students out there, Indra made 3 points, and I'm just repeating. First was to have a co-founder and have the ability to work well with the co-founder, right? That's the first challenge. Second is all around market acceptance. So I might have the best idea, but to make the idea get accepted in market, it requires a hell lot of perseverance, hell lot of effort. That was the second point. And third is, while we start a venture, we start with our own capital, and our own capital is limited. So then the next challenge comes is how to sell this vision to the whole lot of financial community, the angel investors, venture capitalists, and to bring them on board. So 3 very important points. And Indra has been very candid. So with this, I'm done. I'm going to lay off the floor open. And first of all, just give me a second. My first question, should I ask who? Aditya Gupta is about right. Alu Krishna. Alu, you can unmute and speak. Ask your question.
Yes, sir. Yes. First of all, good evening, sir. So I just wanted to ask you about a question like, what is the importance of social startup in the present scenario? Because nowadays, most entrepreneurs are aiming only at making money. Like if it is a business, they are just aiming on only making money. So if it should reach more people and if it should be more like a social startup, what can be the benefit that entrepreneur can get, or what is the social importance of a non-profitable social startup? And also I have a complementary question, like, can you please tell us what is the difference between an NGO and a social startup also?
Okay. Indra, would you like to have a take?
Yeah. Okay. So I think the question is little blurred. Let me draw a little bit contrast here. Of course, you said last word, the NGO. So this word itself is, indicating you this is a the profit organization. However, when you talk about social startup or impact-driven startup, those who are probably, trying to make the product or services accessible for the marginalized section of the society. But yes, probably, if it can be self-sustainable model, then it makes a lot of sense. And there is a lot of impact funds around into the, the global, national, and the global horizon who support such kind of a impacts venture. But impacts venture does not make that you should not make money. You should make the money, and so that you have to pay the salary to your employee. You have to do a lot of even market acceptance. Also, does not happen even if you are going for this impact driven cause you have. So it's a right check and balance that your venture should not be just money motivated. If your venture is really creating impact and serving the population of that large and solving their one of the pressing pain point, the money moderately or excessively it follows. So that is my the response to your question.
In fact, Alu, just to elaborate on your question, Indra's venture, right? It's serving bottom of pyramid at super affordable cost, right? It's an impact. In my mind, it's an impact venture, high impact venture, because healthcare facility, if you can think of India as villages, the accessibility of healthcare facility at those places is fairly low. Now, what he's doing is he's providing doctors sitting in Delhi, Bombay, etc., and through his devices, allowing poor people to have good access to healthcare facility. Now, the point he's making is, while he's serving the poorest of the poor, right, should it be free of cost or should he charge a fee, right? And that's the difference between a NGO model that someone else pays for it versus the patient pays for it. And in reality, what happens is a patient who's suffering, they might go to multiple places and they might end up paying thousands of rupees. And what Indra is doing is, through his solution, he's making that healthcare facility available to them at 100 rupees or so. And in that sense, it's a high impact social venture, right? I go to the next question. I'm going to the chat screen and looking at the next. Yashveer, would you like to ask a question? Please unmute and ask your question. Yashveer Singh Zala. Yashveer, you're there? Okay, so I'll read out his question, Indra, on behalf of Yashveer. And his question is sometimes we want to work on very good idea, but we don't know coding skills, right? How do we implement such idea?
Which skill?
Coding, for example. So I might have an idea. For example, you might have this nice idea, but you don't know how to make an IoT, I would assume, right? So how will you go about implementing such ideas?
Okay. So I guess when you feel that this is a compelling idea, first you must validate the idea. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, and friend. If you are not satisfied with your answer, probably to whom you are going to, with the help of this idea, you are going to solve anybody's segment's problem. So then have their response, because ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि you feel that you have a compelling idea, and when you are going onto the ground, then the idea falls apart, and then you have, probably so much of time, energy, resources you have, invested, and you are at the time of, shutdown or something like that. So I guess validation is the step one. And once the validation is done, you have a strong conviction, then you have to take it off. Probably you have to have 2-3 co-founders who can. So first you have to sell the idea to your co-founders. And if co-founders are convinced, your team is formed, then third will be developing whether the products and services, whatever you have. And you have to also think about it might cost you and whatever savings you have, or you can borrow from family, friend, etc. So you must thirdly look into the financial resources which can give you the initial headway. So these three things are important. And one after three things, and if you are into the market, showing the traction, then probably angels are there who can help you out. But unless you have three things done, even angel cannot help you out. And then fourth will be the, the institutional funding, etc. coming, and your idea will kick off and take off.
Okay. Very thanks, Indra, for providing a very succinct answer. I have a question from Diptesh Parida. Diptesh, will you unmute and ask your question?
Yes, sir. Sir, my question is that, sir,
can you introduce yourself first, Diptesh?
Sir, my name is Diptesh Parida, and I belong from the state of West Bengal and study in the school, Model School in the IDEATHON campus, and I'm presently studying in the class 9. Sir, my question is that we are thinking some ideas. Like previous year in the youth IDEATHON, I thought one idea about the aqua card, and I thought to implement in the rural areas, but I can't. So, sir, can you tell that we are thinking some ideas, but how to implement in the market so that it will be useful to the main people for which we are making this product with respect to today's market scenario?
Okay, I guess if you have any, again, I think the similar question to the last. You have to be, there should be monetization element to your solution. So let's say you talked about AquaGuard, and I'm not sure what was your idea and what you are trying to solve it. So have you identified that, to whom you are going to help with the help of your solution, whether they value your solution? Because we may have lots of fancy ideas, but there the reality check is very, very important. Ground check is very, very important. And that you must do with the due diligently, very, very, in a diligent manner. And unless you have the validity check, probably you should not venture into that. You should search for another compelling idea. So I guess, again, the 4th step, which I talked about, validation of the idea, finding the co-founder, forming a team, and then building the product and solution, and then finally going for a, angel round or the VC round. So that is, I guess, the 4 key steps.
Thanks, Indra, for making it so, appear so simple. I see that there are 2 or 3 people who have raised hand. Divyansh, what's your question? Divyansh Gupta.
Sir, my question is, sir, what if we start a business related to if there are many factors that are doing pollution, sir, instead of just putting coals and burn it, sir, we can't use electricity to burn it.
Fair point, Divyansh. I'll try and answer that question, but I don't want to give that question to Indra at this stage. Bhavin Kataria, your question.
Good evening, sir. My name is Bhavin Kataria. I am from the Sangamner campus of Dhruv Global School. And my question here is about our team. How big should the team be? And like,
this is about Youth IDEATHON. Bhavin, I'll try and answer. Right. So if you have any questions, friends, for Indra Jha, he is the founder of Ziffy, and we are doing this session on HIGMID. Please ask. If you have a question on Youth IDEATHON, I'll give those answers. Just wait for me. I'll have to, release Indra because he's traveling on road, and, he's been toiling. So any question, last question for Indra, if anyone has. If you don't have, then I have a question for Indra. Pushkar Prasad, want to ask question from Indra Jha?
Hello, sir. I'm Pushkar Prasad, and I'm from Gujarat and studying in class 11. So my question is, like, if I had an idea, like, certainly, like, if I have an idea, so like how to implement that in this this startup, like how to go through that, and what is the process?
He just explained, Pushkar. He said 4 steps, but Indra, if you want to explain that once again.
Yeah. See, and more precisely, let me tell you that there is no blueprint. Okay, there is no blueprint of any execution idea got translated into the big form, and every process is a unique. So probably your process can be unique. What probably 4 steps I have described, it may be to one broader, the template, but you may have your own template. So just think step by step, and you are the best judge. And I guess this 4 template can help you. That's it. But it is you have to innovate your steps and design your steps and move ahead.
But 4 steps, Indra, once again, if you can repeat, first is idea validation, right?
Idea validation. Second is the co-founder.
Second is just give me a second. Preetam, can you? Yeah.
Yeah. So I suggest first should be the idea validation and focused target segment to whom you are going to solve whether the value or solution. And then number 2 should be selling your idea to your co-founders, making a good team, probably 2, 3, 4, whatever it is possible. And then the third will be, developing that product exactly focused to the pain point. Do not get distraction ki ye bhi kar lete hain, wo bhi kar lete hain. Remain focused. One point you try to solve. And then the fourth will be ready that your own financial resources will be, dried on. So the traction has to be sufficient enough, and you have to sell your idea to the investment community.
Thanks, Indra, for your time. Can I request everyone to unmute and give a round of applause to Indra Jha? Please unmute and give a round of applause to Indra Jha. Please unmute and give a round. Yes. So wonderful to be listening to you, Indra. Indra, you can log out and I'll spend some 5 minutes with the students.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you very much, Sivesh ji.